Daily God's Promise, Day 15, September 15, 2025. Welcome, beloved friends, to Daily God's Promise, Day 15. Today, we embrace a profound and comprehensive promise from Isaiah chapter 58 verse 11. The Lord will guide you continually, and satisfy your soul in drought, and strengthen your bones. You shall be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail. This promise is the glorious result of a life lived for others, a life of true justice and compassion. God promises that when we are a blessing to others, He will be an unending source of blessing to us. 1. Continual guidance and inner satisfaction. The promise begins with a twofold blessing. The Lord will guide you continually, and satisfy your soul in drought. In a world of overwhelming noise and confusion, God promises a clear, constant guide for your life. Furthermore, He promises an inner spiritual satisfaction that is independent of external circumstances. Even in seasons of hardship and lack, drought, your soul will be nourished and fulfilled by His presence. 2. Strength and a watered garden. The promise extends to our physical and spiritual vitality, and strengthen your bones. This speaks of renewed strength and resilience, a divine energy that empowers us. This vitality leads to a life that is like a watered garden. A watered garden is lush, productive, and beautiful, thriving even when others are withering. It is a life that is continually filled and fruitful, bearing the joy of God. An unfailing spring of life. The climax of the promise is a powerful metaphor, and like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail. A spring is a source of life that flows outward, giving life to everything around it, yet its own source never runs dry. This is the promise that a life lived in accordance with God's will, one of justice, mercy, and compassion, will be an unending source of blessing to others. In doing so, we become a channel of God's life, and we are continually replenished. 4. A promise for a burnt-out world. In a culture that is often running on empty, this verse is a beacon of hope. It challenges the idea that giving to others will drain us and instead promises that a life of generosity and compassion is the very thing that fills us. It is the secret to a purposeful life, a life that is not only continually filled but also becomes a source of life for others. 5. Old Testament cross-references. God's presence refreshes and restores, as Psalmist says in 23:2-3. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. Stability and fruitfulness come from His provision, as in Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 7-8. Those who trust God are like trees planted by water. God promises continual guidance, as in Proverbs chapter 3 verse 6. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. 6. New Testament cross-references. Jesus offers unfailing living water, as in John chapter 4 verse 14. The water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. God's Spirit is the source of refreshment, as in John chapter 7 verse 38. Rivers of living water will flow from believers who trust Christ. God satisfies both spiritual and physical needs, as in Philippians chapter 4 verse 19. My God shall supply all your need. Living in this promise today. Let's live out the lifestyle that leads to this promise. Let's not just focus on our own needs but on the needs of those around us. As you show compassion, give generously, and pursue justice, trust in the divine promise that God will guide you, satisfy you, strengthen you, and make you an unending source of life and blessing. May your life be a continually watered garden and an unfailing spring of God's goodness. God bless you and give you grace after grace.